y'all? I'm back. It's your girl Mona, and I'm here for another review of Real Housewives of Atlanta season 13 episode 6. If you have noticed, I have been gone for quite some time, so these next couple videos I'm gonna put out, there may be 2 episodes combined to 1, 3, whatever, because we're about to catch back up. But let's get into it. So the first thing we start off with Cynthia and Mike, and they're at their house, and Cynthia's basically talking to Mike about the wedding because she's shocked that majority of her guests are going to come. She invited around 200 people, and about, I say 80% of that list said they're going, and I'm just confused as to why she's shocked, because it's like, you literally, if you're having a party and you're inviting people, you should know there's a 50% chance that they may come. So it's like, okay. Because then she starts talking about COVID and all that stuff, but it's like, if you already knew about COVID and it being bad, why would you even want to invite that many people? That's exactly why they said have it in your backyard, so there's not hell people showing up, because of course people are going to come to your wedding. And then Mike throws out there how, like, hey, like, heads up, I'm gonna invite Dennis, like, you know, that's my boy, whatever. And Cynthia's just kind of like sure, you know, that's gonna be a whole another situation that she's gonna have to handle. And then she talks about how she's contemplating inviting her dad, and she brings up how her mom did this PSA. I forgot if it was for Portia or Kenya, but it was a PSA on domestic violence, and I guess from that situation things with her dad got a little bit more rocky, and just in general her mom and her dad do not fuck with each other, so she's just very up in the air if she should invite her dad or not. So the next thing we get is with Drew and her husband Ralph, and they are in the middle of packing up. There's a little cute scene of them competing on who can wrap the glass faster, so I guess now they're in a better place, or at least for this episode. And basically with their scene, it was more so about Ralph and his dad and him grieving him. They let balloons go. Drew gets a confessional basically saying how, like, marriages have like ups and downs. It's not always gonna be happy-go-lucky, like, you know, things happen and they're trying to work through things. And she also mentions this too, how Ralph like wished he was closer with his dad growing up, like always, so that's why this death is probably a little bit more harder for him, because he wanted his dad in his life more. So then we get into the next scene with Candy and her crew. They're getting her all dolled up for her YouTube channel, and this is when Candy introduces her Candy Cares. It's basically her, like, not charity, but I don't know, organization where they just give back to the community. And she talks about how, like, there are a lot of people who, like, don't have their own village, and you know how they say it takes like a village to raise a baby and like all that stuff. So she's going to be getting together this food drive, giving back to people, especially within this pandemic, who have lost their jobs and things of that nature. So while she's getting ready, she brings up the whole child support situation with Riley's father, and how Riley is the one who actually brought up getting the child support because she's going back to college, and she's basically like, you know, she deserves it. And one of her hairstylists or team members, whatever, is like, girl, you're not about to get that money, like, you make hella money, like, now you want the money after 18 years. And on one side I do get it, because it is kind of like, is it just for the show? Like, after all this time, now you want to try to like do all this legal stuff to try to get child support? But at the same time too, I can see Riley, you know, going off to college, like, no, like, even though my mom can pay for it, it's like, you should pay for something, and now it's the time to pay for something now that I'm going off to college, and college is very expensive. And then Candy brings up how she's working with Eva's husband. I can't remember his name. I think it'd be Mike too, because y'all know her husband is a lawyer, so he's been working with her. She takes like a phone call or a FaceTime call, and while they're filming, and basically he's talking about the legalities of the situation and all that stuff. It was kind of boring, honestly. So the next scene we get Cynthia and Portia. They meet up to go get some food. Basically Portia starts off with basically telling Cynthia how happy she is for her and proud of her, you know, with her marrying Mike and all that. And then Cynthia kind of starts to bring up, like, hey, like, he may, like, you know, invite Dennis, but the waitress keeps on like coming up and like, oh, do you need this? You guys see that? And it got to a point where Cynthia was like, don't come back, like, I need to have this conversation. So when she brings up the whole Dennis thing, to me at first I felt like Portia was starting to like change the conversation, because she started talking about like the weight gain with COVID and all that stuff, but then she did go into talking with Dennis, and basically she was saying how she felt like, you know, she was seeing herself become a different person, seeing herself more angry, seeing herself like lash out at him, and just not being her. And when it gets to that point, it's like, okay, there needs to be something needs to be done, and that something needed to be them splitting apart from one another. And the one thing that stood out to me in the scene, she said that she forgave him for the cheating, but she couldn't stop punishing him But to me, that literally sounds like you didn't forgive him for the cheating. Because if you forgave him for the cheating, then you would not, you know, like try to go out your way to lash out at him. Granted, he deserves it, but it's like you're not over it. So basically, in regards to the invite on Portia's end, she's pretty much like, no, she don't want them there. And I just feel like, to be real with you, I just feel like she shouldn't act that way. Like, I get it, but it's like, it's not, it's one thing if it's your event, but it's like, it's not your wedding. Like, just suck it up. Like, you guys literally have a child together. Like, you know what I mean? And then the next scene, we get Cynthia back at her house, and she's FaceTiming Noelle. Noelle, I believe, lives in Los Angeles. And basically, they're talking about Noelle coming out here for the wedding. Noelle's going to be coming out for 2 weeks. And Cynthia thought that was a short time and was just like, you know, acting like in her feelings. And like, what? Oh my gosh. Apparently now Noelle's like an Instagram influencer, so she be in her bag. You know, she out there living her life. I really don't feel like 2 weeks is a short time. I feel like that's a long time too. Like, to me, maybe because I'm still young too, because 2 weeks feels like a month when I go back to like visit my mom. So I don't know why Cynthia's tripping. Like, girl, like, chill. And then the next scene, we have the Candy Cares food drive. The first people who arrive is Portia and Tanya. Candy mentions how Portia gave a very good donation because she has all the ladies if they can give a donation to her food drive. So next, Kenya arrives. I think Cynthia was gonna arrive later. I don't know if Marla arrived yet, but it's Portia, Tanya, Candy, and Kenya at this point. And Kenya's just acting like hella bossy. Is like, can we work and talk at the same time? I'm like, girl, like, for one, this is not your event. The only one who should really be bossing around is Candy. And it's like, Kenya, like, why? Like, girl, like, chill. She be doing way too much. And I'm just like, this is why nobody likes you. Literally. Oh, that's why Cynthia didn't come, because the whole marriage license thing or whatever. I honestly kind of tuned out when it came to that part. So then Portia is talking about the wedding situation, and then Candy hops in and says that Todd had talked to Dennis and he was telling him that, oh, Portia could come, she can't bring a day, and they're kind of like laughing and like, oh my gosh, about that. And then Kenya steps up. She's basically telling Portia, like, you need to be able to control yourself if you're gonna be around him. Like, it shouldn't be Cynthia like having to not invite him if you can't control yourself and you get drunk and you want to like bust it open. And to a degree, honestly, I do agree with Kenya. Like I said before, it's Cynthia's wedding. Like, it shouldn't, you know, like, it's not your event. Like, just deal with it. But at the same time, it's like, Kenya, shut the fuck up. So then the food drive begins and they start handing all their stuff out, getting back to community, blah blah blah. So the girls go over and they take a lunch break, and they're all sitting there eating, and this is where Candy throws shade, because she basically was saying how she don't want to get on anybody for the amount they donated, but she thought that other people would donate more. She also does shout out how Marlo, I think she gave like $5,000, and I think she was hinting shade at possibly Kenya for not donating a lot, which I could see, the one who's bossing around. That's why she's bossing around the most, because she didn't give the most money, so she feels like she gotta do something if that's who she is talking about. Then since Drew's moving, she wasn't there, so they are on FaceTime with her, and Kenya calls Drew Cynthia stray, and it's like, but Latoya's your stray, so I don't, once again, Kenya, why are you talking? But then Kenya starts bringing up how she wants to go on a girls trip, and they've all been stressed out. They try to figure out where should they go to. They're talking about going somewhere that has water and like a beach, so they decide on Charleston. That's in North Carolina, I believe. If not, I'll drop it and fix it somewhere. But yeah, they decide to do that. And then the last scene, we have Cynthia and Noelle in the car on the way to Cynthia's mom's house, and they're just having general chit chat, and Noelle's just over there taking selfie after selfie, which I feel her, because I do take selfies all the time. My mom be on the same wave and be like, why are you taking so many pictures? Like, can you put your phone down? So then they arrive to Cynthia's mom's house, and the first thing that Cynthia noticed is that all the food is gone, because her sister Mallory, I believe, yeah, Mallory was also coming over too, and she pretty much damn near cleared out all the food. So then all the ladies sit down, Cynthia, Noelle, her mom, Mallory, and Cynthia brings up the situation with possibly inviting her dad to the wedding. First thing her mom says is, oh, I'll put my mask over my eyes. Like, just straight, like, I do not fuck with this man. And then like her mom like mentions about this Instagram post that Cynthia did like on Father's Day, and it was like a sweet post to him, and she was like, you're my child, he didn't do anything. And it's like, her mom is just so bitter. And it's like, granted, I do understand if the relationship did go rocky and like the domestic abuse and all that, but it's like at the end of the day, that's their dad. Like, they should still be able to have a relationship with him, and especially because it's like they're grown as fuck. Like, it's not like they're like 20 and they're teenagers. Like, they're grown with kids, married. Like, just let them have a relationship with their dad. And then that's when Mallory brings up that, like, you know, like, she still has a relationship with him. Like, she don't see no problem with it. Like, she's still gonna, like, no, be fucking grown. And then this part I was confused on. The mom had brought up how the PSA scene, how she was hurt because she didn't know that's what it was gonna be, or didn't know what a PSA was. And it's just like, I'm sure you know what a PSA is. Like, why are you, like, that was very confusing. I feel like her mom was just trying to bullshit and just trying to, like, make Cynthia feel even worse or something, because it was just like, okay. And mind you, the PSA stuff happened hell long ago too, so it's like, I know you really don't care this much. This has to be for TV. But Cynthia still apologizes and like, okay, if you didn't know what that was, or I didn't explain to you well enough, I apologize for that, blah blah blah. And then they ask Noelle, or Noelle jumps in, and it low-key did piss me off, because Noelle was basically like, he hasn't done anything for you. Like, grandma's always been there. I've only met him once. I feel like you should put grandma first and not invite him. And it's like, why are you talking? Like, literally, like, I get it, because technically that is your grandpa, but it's like, I would have, if that were me in that situation, I would have been like, you know, basically do however how you feel, because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, that's my grandpa, but that's your dad. You guys have a different relationship, so I can't even put in like my input to it, because it's a whole different thing. So I just felt like that was just like, what the fuck. And in general, I do feel like Noelle be treating Cynthia, it feels like the roles are reversed. It feels like Noelle is the adult and Cynthia is the child, because the fact that she said that, and then after, and she was like, well, and I know she knows it's true, because she didn't even say anything. Grandma didn't say anything back. Like, so y'all let her run all of y'all? Like, okay. I hope maybe she don't run her daddy like that. Maybe it's just a mom side of the family, because it's like, you low-key talking out the side of your neck. But yep, that wraps up this review. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all my socials, and I'll see you in the next video.